Hello everyone! I hope everyone is doing good. I'm going to do a video today about the ISTJ. This video is going to be long and is going to probably bring a lot of comments that are going to be maybe disturbing. But I'm excited. Thank you for all the comments. For everyone who has been watching my videos, I really love the comments. Oh my goodness, I have learned so much from the comments, from every personality that I have been thinking about or imagining. It all depends on the personality. For those of you who do not know about my videos yet, this is maybe the first time you see this video. I am taking this topic from the point of view of a fool, because what I have experienced through the tarot readings is that I like that sense of evolvement, development into anything. So I decided to approach the topic of MBTI from a very full point of view, and I just like to do things this way. So this is probably going to be my favorite segment, and then after that is going to be a little bit more likable by schoolers. The ISTJ is going to be probably the one that is the easiest to talk because they're so abundant. So we know them, we know many of them, and this video is going to probably provoke comments that may be uneasy, and but at the same time they may be quite educative. So when I remember the ISTJ as a child, before I continue, I have to apologize with majority of ISTJs, because I understand how ISTJs really have high standards in regards to presentation. And I actually did this in purpose, because there is a couple of ISTJs that I actually don't want them to like me. And so I purposely dress up this way, kind of in case they watch the video, they will look at me and they will be like, ugh, I just feel disgusted. And then they will probably run away. Anyway, for the rest, I am sorry, but this is called revenge in so many ways. I don't know how many people is going to understand what I'm doing, but I'm just bagging them. Okay, this is the way I bag them, and this is the way I disturb few ISTJs that I know. So when I imagine or when I remember the ISTJ as a child, the ISTJ, they like to talk, and they talk, and they talk, and they talk. And they read, and they read, and they read. And in a school, they will be arguing with the teacher, and being right and proving that is almost like their everyday purpose is to find out the way to let somebody else know they have better information, better knowledge, they are superior in what they know. This is from child age, okay? This is from child age. They are obsessed with competition. They are also in regards to knowledge, competition in regards to knowledge. So when I was in a school, my competitors were ISTJs in regards to marks. So if they were competing with me, they were competing in regards to who gets the best mark. who gets the best mark. And if I were to get a lower mark, then they will feel satisfied. And if I get a higher mark, they wouldn't like it. In school, ISTJs get in trouble for what they say from a very, very early age. So if they suffer of bullying, they may come home with a black eye. They may come home. They come home with black eyes probably a couple of times because of what they said. Okay? So somebody punched them on the face because of what they said. The ISTJ has a way to make people feel small. And I don't know how they do it, and they do it with information and knowledge. And I still trying to understand this side of them, because it's so hard with the ISTJ, because it feels to me that if the ISTJ loves you, they will correct you and criticize you. If the ISTJ doesn't like you, they will correct you and criticize you. Now, the way they do it may change a little, but if they really love you, it's almost like I'm going to be hard on you because I don't want anyone to give you that experience ever outside or bubble, okay? So it's almost like they will say, I will hurt you so you understand now and you will not get hurt by anyone else. That is my impression. You guys, and this is going to evolve because I know, I think I know a lot about the ISTJ in many ways. So, when they see an INFJ, I think they like them, okay? I feel like when they see an INFJ, the first reaction is attraction. They're attracted to them. And I think that the reason why they're attracted to the INFJ is because the INFJ has the capacity of paying attention and being a great listener. Not only the INFJ is capable of doing that for long periods of time, but also INFJ loves reading too. But INFJ enjoys reading more for the enjoyment of imagining than knowing, okay? So when an ISTJ speaks about information, especially with someone who has the capacity to have a conversation with them about certain topic, the ISTJ will bring information in regards to who said that, when they said that, and how they say it. They're going to be very careful in saying it exactly as it's said in the book, or making sure that the information is as relevant and real as possible. An INFJ probably won't care who said it or when they said it, but the INFJ will care about the meaning of what they said and how they can adopt it in their life or utilize it. Yeah, we may find, we have to train, I guess we have to train to respect information a little bit more in that regard, I guess. And I guess INFJ needs to train to remember details of information that for an ISTJ is important. The problem here, when they feel attraction, because the INFJ will feel attracted to the ISTJ as well because of his capacity of being charming. The INFJ will feel attracted towards the ISTJ because the INFJ will see value in the information that the ISTJ has, because the INFJ see the value of having something that is accurate, okay? Accurate as much as possible. However, after a while, an INFJ will get tired of the ISTJ conversation because the ISTJ will focus much more in the topic of his interest and what he knows. And in regards to what he knows, it has to be written. It has to be written, it seems to me. It has to be written, or maybe he would accept it or she would accept it if they have live that life experience and agree with the INFJ. It's difficult for an INFJ to have a conversation with an ISTJ, and I see it from the side of me communicating, because when I talk about things that are not real. It could be possible, it could be, it's a theory, it's imaginary, it's nothing that you have to take, and it's not written in stone. But I use these concepts to see life and understand it. That something is written doesn't mean to me much. That something is written is nice because I can imagine what happened in the past. I can imagine, it's almost, to me, it's almost like watching television. It's entertainment. But I think that the ISTJ takes it at heart in such a way that if you make fun of information, when the INFJ is speaking to an ISTJ, it's almost like the ISTJ is not understanding. I don't understand, where did you bring that from? Who said that? But who said that? Or where are you bringing that from? Or where is your source of information? And the INFJ will be like, well, I heard it somewhere. I read it somewhere. I imagine. That's what I feel. That's what I see. And so for the ISTJ, that is not enough. He cannot do anything with it. You see? He cannot do anything with what you feel, with what you imagine, with what you theorize, because no one else, or only you know that information. Only you. So the ISTJ will be like, well, it means that I guess I have to accept what you say for a fact, and I cannot do that because it's you who say it. It's not written anywhere. Nobody else said it. So, in other words, I feel like if I were to have a conversation with an ISTJ, it's me listening to the ISTJ. INFJs are pretty much ears, but ISTJs talk a lot, and so they will feel attracted to an INFJ because of the amount of time that the INFJ will pay attention and follow instruction too. When they date you, let's see, this is a very difficult video for me because it's so many ISTJs out there that there is some of them that are kind of unfriendly to me, and there is some of them I have very near to my heart. So I do really want to let go of a lot of my feelings towards the ISTJ, but I don't want to offend the other ISTJs, so that's why this video is very difficult for me. And because I have compassion for others, this is something I do. This is just something I do. So when an ISTJ loves me and there is somebody that tries to hurt me, the ISTJ will make that person feel so little that is the first reaction of the ISTJ is, I'm just going to make this person feel like you should not be even being existing. And they do that with their knowledge and their information, in the way they speak it out, with their tone of voice, with the way they look at the person, and their passion. Okay? And so they will explain his rational information, whatever they're saying to that person, in a way that the person cannot argue back. And they either won't argue back because they don't know the information that the ISTJ has, or because they're so hurt by what the ISTJ just showed them, that they will just either cry or leave or just stop talking to the ISTJ. There is no, they just can't, okay? For an ISTJ and I to be arguing, I stop before them because I don't want to waste my time anymore. It's almost like they have this enjoyment inside themselves that they were the one with the last word, and that you could not argue with them anymore. And so the fact that it's almost make them feel like I am right, and you cannot continue arguing with me. To me, it's like I just don't have the time. I have a life. I have something to do. And because you and I cannot come into an agreement, or to, we cannot come to agreement. We cannot come into agreement. I'm just going to leave. Sorry, I have an appointment. I have something to do. And because otherwise it will be me listening to them forever. And I don't think I'll find that same attention towards me or the same understanding, because if I were to speak with an ISTJ about the things that I really want to speak, because it's almost like I have to adapt to, let's speak about your topics, and whatever I know about it, I provide you for your enjoyment. But if I were to speak about my imaginary world or what I do, the look of the ISTJ towards me is, you crazy. And it's literally, if somebody has tell me that word, crazy, idiot, stupid, is ISTJs. ISTJs have made sure that I knew I didn't have enough information and I wasn't right. And so I don't understand how the life of an ISTJ evolves, because to tell you the truth, unless I find a mature ISTJ who has realized a couple of things about the way they communicate with people, I will probably just try to stay away from ISTJ's conversation because to me, I will waste my time. They will enjoy my time. I will waste it. This is going to probably provoke a lot of comments. There was a, okay, now, in regards to dating, when I have dated ISTJs, they feel very proud in social settings and they dressed up to the night. They like uniforms and they like professions in where they have a group of people to educate, train, orient. It's almost like they want to be in charge of the education of the world. Their mission and what they feel that their purpose is to educate whoever they encounter and educate them to their information, to whatever they know, to whatever they have. They will be in jobs where they are in charge of the training. They're either supervisors, coaches, and involved with the training, involved with providing the information, because they are great at keeping information, and the real information from encyclopedias, from the books, from Wikipedia. They're really good at training. They are really good at training because they train exactly what the company needs. So they will train people in the history of the company. They will train people in regards to the job they have to do, etc., etc. When I had the opportunity to date ISTJ, ISTJ love social settings and they love their partner to be absolutely in control of themselves for the enjoyment of the social setting. So I don't know how to explain this, but so etiquette is important, manners are important, the way you look is important, and it's not only makeup, but it's all everything. You have to be completely you need to be someone they feel proud in many ways, because I feel like it talks a lot about them if they're capable of having a woman who is in control. It's interesting. This is very interesting because if we are in a restaurant, let's say, if we were in a restaurant and the waiter made a mistake with my order, the ISTJ will make them feel little too. And it's in regards to the capacity they have to think or remember something. So they will criticize their capacity of retaining information properly. And they will speak quite proper but offensive. So they speak properly offensive, okay? Especially when they're correcting someone and when they're criticizing someone. They make you feel very little with proper words. So that's why you find it difficult to argue with them. So it was difficult for me dating an ISTJ because if the waiter made a mistake, I will probably not even mention it. If the waitress makes a mistake with my order, I think about them. I think about maybe the kitchen is too busy, maybe she's having a bad day, maybe she's gonna bring it in 5 minutes, maybe maybe I'm just being impatient. I don't know. When the waitress come back, I will ask her, excuse me, I actually ordered this. I didn't order this. I ordered that. And I will be like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll get a new order for you or whatever. If I were with the ISTJ, he will take on that job, and it's almost like they find pleasure in it, and so they will be like, excuse me, but they will do it very polite. You forgot the order of my wife, or you made a mistake with my wife's order. And just with the look and the tone and everything, they're going to make them feel like this is service. Come on. There is something for an ISTJ. Customer service has to be excellent. And the ISTJ does that because they provide, in fact, great customer service. They are capable of completely locking their emotional state. They will speak properly, and they will always give the right information in regards to a product. So I'm going to bring the ESTP back because I had said that the ESTP is a good salesman. The ISTJ is another great salesman. ISTJ is great at sales too, and I'll explain the reasons why I will pick them as my salesman. Okay, I will buy from the ESTP because he made me feel good. Okay, the ESTP, with their energy, he or she, the ESTPs, they are going to make me feel good. They're going to make me feel good about not only who I am, how I look. They're going to make maybe they'll tease me in a fun, friendly, entertaining. They're just warm. I have said this in a couple of videos. ESTP is just my little sunshine that I just adore them. Okay, I just adore the ESTP. The ISTJ, I will pick it as a salesman because when I go to buy a phone, for instance, and if the salesman is an ISTJ, I will say to the ISTJ, okay, I need this phone to do videos, basically, make videos. And then he will pick the perfect phone from all the phones that are there, and he's going to sell it to me. See? So the ISTJ will sell me something because he will convince me that this is the best item to buy, and I will believe him, okay? Whether he's saying the truth or not, I'll believe the ISTJ because they have a facility with their words. They will find the proper words to convince me that the sale is the best, effective product I will get. And so I will give me that. Take my money, I'll walk home happy. The ESTP will make me buy things that I will come home and I will be like, I don't even really need one of these. So I'll give it as a gift or something. But the experience that the ESTP gave me is such a great experience that I'll be like, here, I'll even pay you for the moment you spent with me. So that I wanted to compare them because I find that very interesting. Now, we were talking about service. So the ISTJ, if I'm with an ISTJ and I have to make a complaint, the ISTJ will take over that job and they will do it effectively so that this waiter or waitress is going to make sure that I have the best service for the rest of the time that we are spending in the business. But I know because of my FE and my NI that the waitress is not having a good time every time she walks by, because inside herself she is probably feeling terrible about themselves, is probably feeling terrible about who they are as professionals, as service providers, because the ISTJ found the proper tone of voice, the proper words to let them see what they still need to develop as a professional in the customer service department. The reason why an ISTJ will find an INFJ attention at the beginning is because the ISTJ will try to entertain me. So they will probably try to entertain me with the knowledge that they have, and they will share information with me. That is something I find interesting, because if an ISTJ loves me, then they will share information with me, share information that they keep to themselves just because they find safe to have, and so they will share it with me, but no one else. There's something I cannot understand with the ISTJ, and it's their fear of emotion. And I say fear because when somebody is emotional, it's almost like someone has a cat and the ISTJ wants to put their finger in it and move it inside. And I don't know how to explain this. It's almost like they hate emotional behavior in such a way that they will try to train you not to do that in front of them. I have an experience with an ISTJ supervisor. He told me I see emotion as weakness. And he said that to me after I had become a little bit emotional. And he told me that, he told me in a good manner, but he made sure that I heard it. And he wanted me to hear it. And he said to me, emotions are weakness. And it's almost like he wanted me to understand that it's weakness. So you're not strong enough, is basically what I took from that. Now, I say it's interesting because I know ISTJs in very close ways. And when they are emotional, they are a complete mess. I've seen ISTJs on their knees crying. I've seen them. I've seen them screaming their lungs out to people who make mistakes with customer service in such a way that I even had to remove myself from the room because I could not stand the way they were treating somebody else just because a mistake they did with their customer service. If I had an issue with my with customer service, ISTJ will take on that job and phone and fix it for me. They would fix things for me. They would fix it in a way that I never get taken advantage from other people, like taking advantage in a sale. If an ISTJ knows that I pay too much for an item, it's almost like they will take me by the hand to the store. They will bring the item with anger. They will claim to get that return, and they will claim something additional to it just because of the time they made me spend. It's truly beautiful when an ISTJ loves you. This is strange for me because when an ISTJ loves you, they are tough. When they don't like you, they are tough. So it's hard to know if they love you or not. It is hard to know, I feel, as an INFJ. I had ISTJs as bosses, females, males. I had an ISTJ boss that when I did a mistake, she would say, in regards to information, like I will write the wrong data or things like that, she would say, "You made a mistake again." I had a supervisor, ISTJ male, that when he will explain things to me, he would say, as I said before. And it's a very repetitive sentence that this specific person used for me. And I find them both with the intention of making me feel stupid. And the ISTJ likes to own the team. Seems to me they like to own the team. So working with an ISTJ is difficult for me because if we are not agreeing, which is very unlikely that we agree on things. Okay, let me have a pause here and talk to you about what makes the ISTJ. Is the letters I for introverted, S for sensing, T for thinking, and J for judging. The functions, which I'm not really talking much about them because I'm being a fool here, is I for introverted sensing, and is their top function. So I guess that's why they have such a great memory. They have great memory. Extroverted thinking is the second function. Introverted feeling is on the third function. And extroverted intuition is the last one, is the last of their functions. So our functions are quite different, and their position are not even close. I mean, I don't see it difficult to understand that we cannot come to agreements because we see life so different. I can understand them, and I can understand how they provide their opinion and why they provide their opinion that way, but I cannot come to agreement with them. I cannot come into agreement with that, not many times at least. So as long as I'm doing exactly what the ISTJ wants me to do, as when they are a supervisor or a boss, we are in good terms. because as soon as they find me finding things, because my I am an investigator and they are too. They are very good at investigating things, but investigation is my passion. So I will go into very deep investigation to figure things out. So whenever an ISTJ, especially a supervisor, says something and I don't find it clear enough, or I don't feel that is 100% correct what they're doing or what they're saying, I will investigate. And because I will do that, the ISTJ is not going to like me anymore. And so the ISTJ will start bringing people against me one by one, or in a way that is um, the ISTJ will start turning people against me. Um, and it's almost like they will enjoy war. They will enjoy war. They will enjoy it. And I think because they love competition in such a way that if it's on, it's on. If it's on, it's on. And they will not back up. They will, I think that ISTJ consider themselves hunters. And I think that they will hunt you down. They will hunt you down. And they will try to hunt you down because they're afraid of you. They're afraid of you. So that's why they will do it. What else I have to say about the ISTJ? When an ISTJ is your friend or they love you, they are loyal. I would say that the ISTJ adores their profession. They love their job. They love their job. And they will be there earlier in the morning before their schedule, and they will be there until the end of the day if possible. They give themselves to their profession, to their passion, which is usually information. So they take it as their mission. They take it as their mission, their company, their staff. I had managers, and this is in industries of fashion, and I believe this person to be an ISTJ, and I absolutely adore her. It's almost like a second mom to me, and they are loyal, and if they cannot forgive you in something, is disloyalty. You cannot be disloyal to an ISTJ, and that's why if you disagree with them, it's because it all depends on what the ISTJ plan is, right? So if the ISTJ plan is to favor his group of people, but the INFJ feels like it's not right because whoever is in the ISTJ bubble is what the ISTJ think is important. If a person who is not in ISTJ bubble is important to the INFJ will try to make things right, okay? So when the ISTJ and the INFJ crash, is because I feel like the ISTJ thinks you're not being loyal to them. You're not being loyal to them. You are betrayed them by not agreeing with their authority and by not agreeing with what they're saying. And if you are daring to argue their decisions, they will make sure that you don't like your job from that day till the last one. By the way they look at you, by the way they talk to you, by the way they breathe near you. And it's interesting, I find it very interesting because they do not like emotions. And I think that they're a complete mess when they cannot handle their own. But I also see their capacity to see how a person can be easily hurt. And I don't know how they do that, because I will see it from when I'm going to bring the ESTP again, because I feel like these two are very, I don't know. I don't like to compare my ESTP with anyone because I love my ESTP so much. But the thing is, the ESTP will hurt people a lot of times without intention. I feel like ESTP and INFP will hurt people because they naturally speak of what's real in front of their eyes. So that is what could happen with them. An ISTJ, I feel like they figure out what hurts you, and they, I feel, intentionally will hurt you over and over and over until you quit, if they don't want to share your workspace with you anymore. And to fight against an ISTJ, I feel, or to argue with them, or to argue with them takes a lot of time and energy. And for an INFJ, for instance, or an INTJ, time is so important. Time is so valuable to those types that I think that these two types will rather walk away, because the time is important and I don't want to spend it with someone that doesn't have value for it. So that is my view of the ISTJ. I know this is quite, I don't know what people is going to think about this video. This is from a full site. This is from my full view of things. And whoever like it, and whoever hates it, hates it. Oh, another thing that I want to say is that, you know, guys, when you're going to sites and you see people arguing about INTJs and INFJs, like INTJs this and INTJs that and INTJs or INFJs, but they do it with a lot of passion. When they argue in the internet with a lot of passion, I am very sure that those are ISTJs. Why? Because INFJs will read what people say about them. They will maybe comment in the most lovely way to harmonize the conversation, to help someone that may be feeling bad with what is written there. And we pick up on all those things. We pick up on who is writing is offending who. And so we kind of interfere and soften things up. So we may attack the person who is bullying somebody else, or we may enhance what the person who is being bullied said, to make it more understood and more valuable to the rest of the group. I would say that INTJs will read the comments, they will probably laugh at the stupidity, and just that. For an INTJ to spend time writing things, it's because maybe they really feel something for the person who is saying that, and in some way they want to correct them, but they correct them because they love them. And they correct them with proper information and in a way that you can effectively understand it. But I don't think and I don't feel that at any point INTJs or INFJs have the intention of offending somebody. Now the ISTJ, I think that they thrive on arguing. And so when they believe that they're an INTJ or an INFJ, they will really argue about this. And so those majority of INTJs, INFJs arguing in the internet are ISTJs. So you know. Hey guys, so this is all I have for the ISTJ. If you have questions, please add them on the comments. And because I'm going to be leveling up in a way with the example of the tarot, my next segment after I finish this will be with the magician, and it will be with a little more clarity and a better understanding of every type. So definitely leave the comments because it will help me with my next video. It will help me prove things, and it will help me also understand things that I haven't yet see maybe. So this is very fun. I love doing this. So I'm going to try to do it more often. It just takes so much time, but I will try to do them often. A big kiss to all of you guys, and see you next time with a new video. Bye.